God's chosen ones. Below chosen one. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. While others were formed for the patterns of this world, you were handpicked by heaven, fashioned in fire, and set apart from your very first breath. Every moment of your existence, even the ones you questioned the most, were marked with eternal ink. You have always been watched over, not with pity, but with a fierce love. A love that knew you would endure what others couldn't, that you would carry a burden meant only for the few. You've asked why you don't fit in, why your heart aches differently, why the storms came harder, the silence deeper, and the betrayals sharper. And here's the truth. Because you're one of God's chosen ones. The ordinary mantle could never fit someone called to carry a crown. What you called rejection was really redirection. Every no was heaven's shield. Every closed door, a divine reroute. You were marked since birth. Before you had language to describe the battles inside, the war had already begun over your destiny. Hell caught the scent of your assignment early. It saw what you couldn't see yet, the radiance of glory that hovered over you even in infancy. That's why the attacks came young. That's why confusion, abandonment, and spiritual heaviness became familiar shadows. But what the enemy meant to crush you with, God used to forge you in silence. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Even in your earliest years, your spirit sensed something different. While others could ignore the still small voice, yours pulsed louder. When others slept peacefully, you warred in your dreams. You knew things without being told. You carried empathy like armor. You could walk into rooms and feel atmospheres shift. Darkness would stir just because you entered. You may have tried to explain it away, to normalize the extraordinary in you. But no matter how hard you tried, the weight of your calling clung to your soul. Chosen one. Listen carefully. Your spiritual DNA is divine. The enemy tried to corrupt it with trauma, to stain it with fear, shame, lust, and addiction. But even in your darkest follies, the original blueprint never changed. You still carried the mark. You still bore the seal. When you strayed, mercy ran faster. When you fell, grace caught you. When you wept, heaven moved. Your resilience wasn't just human strength, it was heaven's investment, returning with interest. You didn't survive by chance. You endured because eternity had already declared your name. The scars you carry, proof that the assignment over your life was so potent, darkness panicked. You weren't just a threat, you were a prophecy. That's why your life couldn't be normal. That's why the stakes have always felt higher. You weren't created for comfort, you were created to shift atmospheres, tear down strongholds, and carry light into places others fear to walk. This isn't romanticism. This is reality. If you feel the fire building inside you right now, it's not emotion, it's recognition. Your spirit is bearing witness to a truth your mind has long suspected. You are a divine disruption. You've carried a quiet glory, an invisible crown, and a storm-breaking authority that the earth is now awakening to. Everything that hurt you, every tear, every silence, every betrayal was forging something heaven needed for such a time as this. God didn't let you break. He let you bend until the old you snapped off, until only the called version of you remained. This is your unveiling. No more false identities. No more hiding your voice. No more dimming your light. The anointing on your life demands full visibility. You're not a mistake. You're not too late. You haven't missed it. You're right on time for divine manifestation. Mark this moment. Etch it into your soul, because from this moment forward, everything changes. Heaven has waited for your agreement. All of creation has groaned for the revealing of the sons and daughters of God. And now, God's voice thunders into your spirit. I chose you, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing, because you were obedient in secret, because you carried what others dropped, because you still worshipped when the pain made no sense, because you said yes when you didn't have clarity. And now, clarity comes, strength rises, destiny ignites. Comment 777. If you know this word was marked for you, if your soul bears witness that you are not like the rest, that you were born for divine impact. And don't just receive this. Subscribe right now to stay connected to every prophetic charge and confirmation sent from this altar of truth. Heaven will not let you miss what's next. You were marked since birth. And now, it begins. You didn't disappear. You were hidden. Beloved, chosen one. The silence you endured was not absence. It was construction. You thought you were being forgotten, passed over, buried beneath the weight of delay. But the truth is, God was hiding you in plain sight, building what could only be built in the shadows. What looked like isolation was insulation. What felt like exile was divine preservation. While others ran ahead into platforms, applause, and influence, you were tucked away in a divine cocoon, a place with no audience, no accolades, just the deep work of the Spirit carving eternity into your soul. And yes, it was lonely, painfully so, but in that secret place, heaven was writing scrolls upon your heart. The hidden years were never wasted. There were days when it seemed like your prayers bounced off the ceiling, nights when you questioned if God still remembered your name. But look back, even in the silence, He provided. Even in the absence of answers, you were sustained. He was teaching you to discern without confirmation, to move without applause, to love Him without the lights. God trusted you with silence, because He knew you wouldn't betray the process. Others collapsed under pressure. You grew roots. Others shouted from rooftops. You worshipped from caves. Others needed validation. You clung to consecration. That's the proof of the called ones. Their hunger increases when heaven goes quiet. You weren't being delayed. You were being prepared. A structure without a foundation collapses. But your foundation, it's been forged through dark nights of the soul, through weeping that lasted beyond mornings, through intercession that no one saw, through obedience when it cost you everything. God was preparing a vessel that could carry the weight of glory. Heaven knew your future battles. He foresaw the level of warfare you'd face. That's why your hidden years were so intense, because your public impact will shake territories. You weren't just called to inspire. You were chosen to disrupt darkness, to uproot systems, to awaken generations. But let me tell you this, you are no longer in hiding. What was hidden is about to be revealed. The Spirit of the Lord says, I am bringing my chosen ones from the wilderness. You are stepping out, not in arrogance, but in bold surrender. You won't need to announce yourself. Your presence will echo with authority. You won't need to explain yourself. Your fruit will testify. Every hidden season had purpose. The betrayals, they refined you. The losses, they anchored you. The silence, it shaped you. The trials, they trained you. You've been fashioned in fire. And now, the world will see the embers of glory that burn upon your life. Remember this, Jesus, too, had hidden years. before the miracles, before the multitudes. There were decades of silence, years of being known only to heaven, and when his time came, the heavens tore open. Beloved, your heavens are opening. The voice of God is declaring over you, "This is my beloved, in whom I am well pleased." You're not coming out as you were. You're emerging as who you really are. And yes, some won't recognize you. That's okay. Some will question where you've been. But your transformation will speak louder than any explanation. Your obedience in obscurity has qualified you for visibility under glory. This is your Esther moment. For such a time as this, you weren't born in the wrong season. You were simply being developed in secret for divine unveiling. The oil on your life is not shallow, it is pressed, pure, and proven. And when you move, you won't move in your name. You'll move in the name of the one who called you, kept you, and crowned you in the secret place. You may have felt forgotten, even by those you poured into. But the truth is, God sometimes has to strip away every human voice, so you'll recognize the weight of His alone. And now, you'll walk not just with words, but with power. Not just with zeal, but with wisdom. Not just with hope, but with fire. Every gift He placed in you is about to be activated. And you'll realize He didn't forget. He was just waiting for the exact second heaven aligned with earth. That second is now. Step forward, eyes open, heart steady. This is the hour of revealing. Every wound was a whisper of prophecy. Chosen one. There's a reason your life didn't follow the script. There's a reason your heart has been through battle after battle, disappointment after disappointment. It wasn't karma. It wasn't bad luck. It was heaven's hand allowing the furnace to reveal the gold inside of you. The pain you've lived through wasn't random. It was sacred. You weren't being punished. You were being marked. Your pain was prophetic. It was the language of God spoken through sleepless nights, broken friendships, silent screams, and unanswered prayers. While others only saw failure, heaven saw formation. You were being shaped in the valley, not to remain there, but to rise from it with a fire that hell would never be able to quench. You didn't bleed in vain. Every betrayal was allowed to build your discernment. Every season of loss was designed to cleanse your circle. Every tear was stored in heaven's archives. You didn't just suffer, you sowed. And now, the harvest is approaching. Because only those who've walked through real fire carry the kind of oil this next move of God will demand. Chosen one. The intensity of your warfare was never about your past, it was always about your future. Hell saw what you were becoming, and so it launched early strikes. Childhood trauma, emotional abandonment, cycles of rejection. You were targeted young because the enemy hoped you'd self-destruct before your time. But even in the chaos, you kept breathing. Even in the darkest moments, you didn't let go. You held on, not always with strength, but with something greater, faith. There were nights you questioned everything, times when suicide whispered, moments where hope seemed laughable, but something in you refused to die. That wasn't stubbornness, that was your calling screaming louder than your suffering. You're not here by coincidence. This is not a motivational moment. This is a divine revelation. God is revealing that what hurt you, shaped you, the thing you thought disqualified you, is the very evidence of your qualification. Your lamp. It's Jacob's mark, proof that you wrestled with God and survived. Your scars. They are not shameful. They are sacred stamps of divine process. And here's what you must know now. Heaven never wastes pain. It repurposes every cut into a commission. It transforms every tear into authority. That's why when you speak, it shakes things. That's why when you pray, atmospheres shift. That's why people get uncomfortable around your presence. It's not you they fear. It's the oil you carry. You were never just meant to survive the pain. You were meant to redeem it. There are people who will be set free because you didn't give up. There are chains that will break simply because you chose to stay standing. What once tormented you is now trembling at the thought of your rising. Your pain was prophetic. It revealed who you are. Others hid behind performance. You had to stand with nothing but truth. Others were carried by titles. You were trained through testing. Others had platforms. You had prisons. But God is a master of reversals. He takes those who were crushed and crowns them in glory. Every false start, every denied door, every why me moment, it all makes sense now. You had to be stripped to be anointed. You had to lose some things to make room for what was coming. You had to cry until your voice broke because heaven was breaking things off of you. You thought you were drowning, but you were being baptized. You thought it was over, but it was only beginning. The kind of authority you're stepping into can't be taught. It has to be forged. It's not charisma. It's not charm. It's weight. Weight that only comes from being crushed by the very hand that also lifts. This isn't the hour for polished religion. It's the hour for real ones. And you, chosen one, are the real ones. God trusted you with pain because he could trust you with power. And now, the power is rising. Slowly, steadily, like fire in your bones. You will begin to see why the rejection had to happen, why certain people couldn't stay, why the prayers were answered with silence. Because if you had gotten what you asked for back then, it would have crushed the version of you that hadn't yet been refined. You're ready now. Not because you feel ready, but because heaven has said, it is time. The ones who suffer well will lead well. The ones who've carried burdens in private are about to carry breakthrough in public. You don't need revenge. You need revelation. God is revealing the why behind the warfare. He is turning your mourning into movement, your ashes into oil, your grave clothes into garments of praise. Don't resent your scars. They are sermons. Don't regret your past. It was prophecy. Don't deny your pain. It's proof that God was with you in the fire and never left. Every moment you thought would break you, he used to build you. And now, with holy authority, you step out. Eyes forward, shoulders back, crown adjusted. This is not the end of your pain. It's the beginning of your reign. Type, I hear you, Lord, right now. This is your prophetic agreement, a declaration that you're not just listening, you're aligning. Heaven has interrupted your scroll. This moment right here, right now, is not a coincidence. It's not a fluke in your feed. It's not a random voice in the wind. It is a divine appointment. The King of Glory has paused your world to speak directly to your spirit. And if you feel something stirring as you read, it's not emotion, it's activation. Heaven is interrupting the ordinary to release the extraordinary. You are standing in a holy intersection. Your past is colliding with your purpose. Your wounds are meeting your destiny. And your waiting is crashing into your now. God didn't bring you this far to leave you confused. He interrupted you because it's time for clarity, time for motion, time to awaken what's been lying dormant inside of you. This isn't just encouragement, it's engagement. The Spirit of the Lord is not trying to comfort you, He's trying to commission you. You are not just meant to heal, you are meant to be a healer. You are not just called to recover, you are called to reign. And that's why this moment carries such weight. It's not casual, it's not convenient, it's a divine summons. There are moments when God whispers, but this is not a whisper. This is a trumpet. This is the sound of heaven shouting, "Wake up. You were born for this hour." It's the voice of your Father saying, "Enough delay. Enough doubt. Enough delay. Step forward now. You've been circling the same mountain long enough. You've been wondering, waiting, questioning, but heaven is moving, and you're either in sync or you'll miss the wave. Because timing matters. This interruption is evidence that something is shifting in the Spirit. God doesn't disrupt your atmosphere for nothing. He is moving the chess pieces of your life into divine position. What seemed random is now revealing its design. What felt like confusion is becoming confirmation. You weren't being ignored, you were being aligned. Chosen one. This interruption is heaven's intervention. It's God saying, "I see you." It's His response to your secret prayers, your midnight tears, your weary endurance. It's the breaking point, becoming your birthing point. And the reason it feels so intense right now is because what's next cannot wait. The next door, the next assignment, the next move, it's at your feet. But God will not drag you through it. He will only call you to it. You must decide to obey. You must decide to listen. You must decide to respond. Because divine moments come wrapped in the disguise of inconvenience. But if you discern correctly, you'll realize this disruption is the door. Yes, the final door is opening. Not a physical one, but a spiritual one. The door that separates the called from the chosen, the passive from the prophetic, the hesitant from the obedient. And this door is only open for a short time. The ones who recognize the moment and move will step into things they didn't even pray for favor. Clarity, restoration, divine partnerships. But the cost is your comfort. You can't hold on to the familiar and walk through the final door. You can't cling to convenience and step into calling. You can't stay numb and expect to move in fire. Something must die for something to live. And that something is your fear, your delay, your refusal to step out. God is not waiting for your perfection. He's waiting for your permission. He's not asking for your resume. He's asking for your obedience. He's not looking for credentials. He's looking for surrender. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Not flashing lights, not angels with scrolls, just a sacred stillness that demands response. Chosen one, you are heaven's agenda. You are not the side story. You are not filler. You are a key player in what God is about to unleash on the earth. You've been assigned to this generation. You've been trusted with this moment. You carry something that can't be replicated, copied, or replaced. And heaven refuses to move forward without your yes. You feel this weight because it's real. The trembling isn't anxiety, it's awakening. The fire in your chest isn't hype, it's your spirit remembering why it was sent to earth in the first place. And the urgency, that's not pressure. That's divine timing, reaching its climax. This is not a call to do more. It's a call to be who you were always meant to be. Strip away the noise. Forget the timeline. Look in the mirror of your spirit and ask yourself, have I been living as the chosen one I am? If the answer is no, then now, right now, is your reset. This is the moment everything pivots. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Because you finally respond to heaven's interruption with full surrender. And when you do, doors will open that no man can shut. Mantles will fall. And the version of you that's been hidden in glory will finally walk the earth. God interrupted you for a reason. Don't go back to sleep. The final door has appeared. Chosen one. The threshold you felt in your spirit, the invisible pressure, the rising urgency, the divine tension. It's not your imagination. It is real. It is now, and it is holy. Heaven is not suggesting, it is declaring. The final door is opening, and the ones who have ears to hear must not hesitate. This is not just another opportunity, it is the door. You've walked through many doors before. Some you forced open. Others you stumbled through. Some felt right until they broke you. But this door, this one is different. It's not based on effort. It's based on alignment. It won't open to charisma, only to obedience. You cannot fake your way through this one. The weight of this door is eternal. The time for indecision has ended. You've been circling the edge long enough. You've felt the tug, the pull, the conviction. This is not the season to ask why me. It is the season to say, use me. The final door will not wait for perfection. It responds to surrender. And if you hesitate here, the consequence isn't just delay, it's disqualification from what was timed for now. There's no more room for delay. God is not calling for spectators. He's summoning soldiers. He's raising a remnant that moves on command, not comfort. The kind that walks through fire, not for fame, but because they know what's on the other side of obedience. Glory. And this is your moment. The door has appeared, but it won't remain open forever. Heaven is moving swiftly, and those who discern the time will inherit the shift. But those who second-guess it will watch others rise with the mantle they were meant to carry. You've been trained for this. Every wilderness season, every unanswered prayer, every rejection, delay, and disappointment, it all led to this point. And now, God is saying, I'm trusting you to step through. Not because you have it all together, but because you're ready to trust fully. What's behind the door? Acceleration, revelation, anointing, authority, and yes, warfare. But you won't face it alone. For with every door God opens, He assigns angels. You will not go through this gate unguarded. You will be surrounded, empowered, covered, but you must choose. There's no halfway through this door. No 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in the kingdom. This requires everything. But what you receive on the other side will make every past sacrifice seem small. You've been hearing it in your spirit. Move. Obey. Break free. Step out. Let go. This is why the final door is not just a symbol. It's a spiritual doorway that separates the chosen ones from the crowd, the awakened from the asleep, the carriers of glory from the consumers of noise. Don't get left behind. This moment is the dividing line. Many are called, but few respond when it matters most. And make no mistake, this is that moment. The separating season has begun. And what you do next will echo into generations. You've been faithful in silence. Now walk boldly in obedience. Heaven is not holding back. The door is here, glowing, waiting, opened. What God is about to do in you, through you, and around you will not look like what you've seen before. It will be faster, heavier, holier. This is not the time to shrink. It is the time to rise. No more apologies for your fire. No more silence to keep others comfortable. No more hiding your mantle. You were born to walk through this door. You were born to shift atmospheres. You were born for now. So don't just read this, respond. And subscribe right now. This isn't the end of the message. What's coming will prepare you for the other side of the threshold. Don't miss a single word. Don't miss your instructions. Stay connected to the frequency of heaven. The final door is open. Move. Reinforcements have been released. Chosen one, you've felt the weight. The battles have been heavy. The warfare, relentless. There have been moments when it felt like the darkness was winning, when your strength ran dry. Your prayers felt hollow, and your spirit cried out for backup. What you didn't know is that heaven heard every single cry. And now, heaven has responded. The angelic dispatch has been released. You are no longer fighting alone. You never truly were. But now the reinforcement has manifested. The veil is thinning, and heaven's armies are drawing near. You've stepped into a divine moment where angelic presence will become more real, more active, and more visible than ever before. This isn't mythology. This is movement. For every chosen one who refused to quit, for every surrendered yes, for every obedient step taken in silence, angels have been assigned. Not generic watchers, varring messengers. Fierce, precise, sent on direct orders from the throne of God to cover, guide, and fight for you. And you will begin to see it. Watch the patterns around you. Sudden peace where there was chaos. Divine redirection where confusion once reigned. A shift in the spiritual atmosphere when you enter a room. These aren't coincidences. They are confirmations that angelic presence is now walking beside you, standing guard, and clearing paths that hell tried to block. You've stepped into a higher dimension of spiritual alignment. The battle you're in is not just about your life, it's about your legacy, your assignment, and every soul tied to your obedience. Hell knew that. That's why it launched every dart it could to wear you out. But heaven knew it too, and heaven sent backup. You felt the fatigue because the battle is generational. But now, heaven says, no more fighting alone. The angelic dispatch comes with strategic force. They are not just protecting you, they are moving things into place, knocking down demonic resistance, closing old doors that drain you, opening new ones that align with the final push. This is divine acceleration by supernatural reinforcement. God is multiplying your strength by surrounding you with what you could not see, but were always promised. You'll notice it even in your atmosphere. Less distraction, greater clarity, faster favor, more conviction. Because the unseen realm is now being activated on your behalf. Chosen one, take heart. You are not abandoned. You are backed. And these aren't ornamental angels, they are commissioned ones. They have your name sealed in divine orders. They respond to worship. They move with obedience. They war when you stand in authority. You must now walk like someone covered. No more slouching in the spirit. Straighten your crown. Speak boldly. Move confidently. Pray with fire. Walk with knowing. You are not operating in your own strength. You are moving with an invisible army. And wherever your feet step in obedience, heaven steps with you. The days of fear are over. Let the enemy tremble now, because your angels are on assignment. What darkness tried to do in secret will be overturned in public. What resistance has blocked will now break. Not because of your ability, but because of heaven's reinforcement. So, declare it now. I am surrounded. Because you are. Even now, the spiritual climate is shifting in your home, your family, your calling. Even the plans you haven't voiced are being covered by heaven's attention. Every time you almost gave up, heaven counted it. And now it answers with force. Stay alert. Expect encounters. You may feel the shift in prayer. You may hear the whisper in stillness. You may see movement in dreams. Don't dismiss it. God is revealing how protected, how assigned, how covered you really are. This is your sign. You've stepped into the realm of backup, and that means acceleration is next. Prophetic movement, destiny doors, all of it guarded and guided by the army you didn't know was already with you. Comment 777 if your spirit bears witness. It's not just a number, it's a prophetic agreement that you recognize heaven's reinforcement has arrived. Hell knows your name. From the moment light entered you, darkness took notice. This is not flattery. This is reality. You were marked from the womb, not just by God, but by the resistance of hell, because what you carry threatens the very systems the enemy has worked generations to build. You weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were dangerous. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are a threat. Your presence alone disrupts. You walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. You speak, and confusion scatters, even in your silence. Your spirit sends out a frequency that exposes what's hidden. You don't even realize how much your light irritates darkness, but hell does. And that's why you felt such relentless pressure. The attacks weren't accidental, they were strategic. You've been targeted, not because of what you did, but because of who you are. The enemy recognized your authority before you even knew it existed. That's why the warfare started young, why the trauma came early, why betrayal seemed to follow you. Hell was hoping you'd break before you awakened, but you didn't break. You endured. Every season that should have destroyed you only made you sharper, stronger, more discerning. You learned how to war in silence, how to praise in pain, how to carry glory without needing to be seen. And that's exactly what terrifies the enemy, that after all the attacks, you're still standing, still worshipping, still believing, still rising. You see, the enemy doesn't fear noise. He fears obedience. He doesn't fear charisma. He fears anointing. And when you finally realized who you were in Christ, hell panicked. Because now, you don't just survive, you advance. You don't just defend, you take territory. And now, you're not only aware of the war, you're winning it. You've been made into a weapon, a living altar, a walking testimony. You know what it feels like to be in the pit. But now you carry the authority of someone who's been through the fire and came out refined. That's why your prayers carry weight, why your words pierce deep, why the same people who once mocked you now fear the strength in your eyes. Chosen one, understand this. Your authority is not imagined, it's inherited. And the enemy can't steal what's been sealed by heaven. That's why all he can do now is distract, delay, or deceive. He can't remove your mantle, so he tries to make you question if you really carry it. He whispers lies, stirs fear, triggers old wounds. Not because he's winning, but because he's desperate. But you are no longer his victim. You are his problem. Because you've awakened, you've stepped into identity. And now, your life will be a divine contradiction proof that God uses the rejected, the broken, the unlikely, to shame the systems of darkness. You will walk into rooms, the enemy thought, he locked. You will receive blessings he swore you'd never touch. And every time you rise, you remind hell that it lost. You are not just fighting for yourself. You are breaking patterns that crippled your bloodline. You are reversing curses, dismantling strongholds, and opening gates for generations behind you. This is not just spiritual warfare, it's spiritual victory. You don't need to prove yourself. Just keep walking. The same enemy that tried to bury you now watches helplessly as God resurrects everything the pit tried to kill. Your name is known in heavenly places and feared in dark ones. That's why strange resistance often meets you. Why heaviness comes out of nowhere. Why certain doors resist you, not because you're wrong, but because you're carrying rightness that hell cannot handle. But no weapon formed against you will prosper. That's not poetic. That's prophetic. You are covered, guarded, sealed, and even now, you are being lifted higher into new realms of clarity, into deeper revelation, into greater fire, because God is not finished. He's only begun to show what he can do with a vessel that stays faithful through warfare. So, walk boldly, chosen one. Let hell tremble. Let the enemy rage. Let darkness howl. Because none of it can touch what God has anointed. You are a storm in the spirit, a breaker of patterns, a child of fire. And everything that came against you will soon serve as evidence of what God has delivered you through. They know your name, but they cannot stop your movement. You were delayed, but you were never denied. Chosen one. For too long you've questioned the timing. You've wondered if you missed it, if too much time has passed, if too many wrong turns disqualified you from the promise. You've watched others move ahead while you stood still. You've seen doors open for people who didn't carry what you carried. And in the silence, the enemy whispered, "You were passed over." But he lied. Heaven didn't say no. Heaven said, "Not yet." Delay is not denial. It is preparation in disguise. What looked like stagnation was God safeguarding your destiny. He wasn't ignoring you. He was insulating the assignment. Because the promise over your life is too potent to be rushed, too weighty to be mismanaged, too holy to be mishandled by premature promotion. God is a master strategist. He delayed you because you needed deeper roots. Because if he had moved you too soon, the weight of the platform would have crushed the foundation. He allowed certain doors to remain shut, not because you were unworthy, but because you were unready, not spiritually, but structurally. And now that the architecture of your soul has been reinforced, the pace will change. You're about to witness what divine timing looks like. It won't be gradual. It won't be predictable. It will be sudden, swift, supernatural. Because when God restores, he doesn't give you back what was lost. He multiplies what was delayed. You won't just catch up. You'll leap. The years the locusts devoured, the seasons that felt wasted, God is folding them into your favor. But make no mistake, this delay came at a cost. You sacrificed. You wrestled. You walked through what others ran from. You stayed when others gave up. And that faithfulness wasn't overlooked. Heaven saw every quiet act of obedience, every prayer you whispered when it felt pointless, every fast you committed to when nothing changed, every seed you sowed when you had needs of your own. It was all recorded. And now, it's being returned. The delay refined your discernment. You see differently now. You don't chase everything that glitters. You're not impressed by noise. You recognize substance. You've learned to hear the still, small voice, even in chaos. That's the gift of delay. It trains your spirit to tune in while the world tunes out. You've become immovable. Where you used to panic, you now pray. Where you used to react, you now respond. The delay taught you the difference between motion and movement, between urgency and obedience. And now, when the door opens, you'll walk through it without second guessing, because you'll know it's time. The delay also revealed who was really for you. Not everyone could handle your waiting season. Some misunderstood your stillness, others mocked your process, but their absence was protection. If they couldn't honor the delay, they don't deserve the release. And when God brings you into acceleration, He will not attach people to your elevation who questioned your preparation. This next season is for those who stayed faithful in obscurity. You're not just being elevated, you're being vindicated. What was once hidden is about to be revealed. The oil that was pressed in the dark is about to flow in the light. And every moment you thought was wasted is about to be resurrected as testimony. The divine delay didn't stop the prophecy, it strengthened it. Some things God delayed because He loved you too much to give them to you on your terms. Had He released it then, you would have idolized the blessing and abandoned the process. But now, you're different. You're yielded. You're dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. This is the point of release. And it's not just breakthrough. It's timing, kairos, an appointed moment, a divine intersection of your preparation and God's activation, and there will be no striving, no forcing, no manipulating. It will happen because heaven said, now. So stand firm, chosen one. You didn't miss it. You didn't mess it up. You didn't fall too far. The delay was never a detour. It was part of the design. And now that it's complete, the doors will open with ease. The right people will find you. The divine connections will align. And what once took years will happen in days. Not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. God is redeeming the time. Every missed opportunity, every lost season, every almost and not yet. He's redeeming it, restoring it, releasing it. Because you didn't give up in the waiting, you'll now receive in the unveiling. Chosen one. The time is now. The clock of heaven has struck your name. And what once delayed you will now be the evidence that you were always chosen for this exact moment. This is not coincidence. You didn't stumble into this word. You weren't randomly pulled here by the algorithm. You were guided intentionally, prophetically, divinely. Everything around you right now has slowed to a whisper, so heaven could deliver this exact message to your soul. And chosen one, don't let the simplicity of the moment fool you. This is sacred. God orchestrated this connection. He aligned your steps with a word that matches the very season of your life. You've been searching for clarity, for direction, for a sign that you haven't missed your moment. And here it is. You're right on time. Everything in your spirit has been building to this confirmation. This isn't entertainment. This is encounter. Your arrival here is evidence of prophetic alignment. How many videos have you skipped? How many sounds have passed through your ears without touching your soul? But this word is different. It sits heavy on your chest. It stirs something ancient in your spirit. It feels like home, because your spirit recognizes the voice of the one who called you. He's been trying to reach you. Through closed doors, through repeated dreams, through whispers in the night, through that deep, unsettled stirring you couldn't shake. You've wondered why you can't stay comfortable in mediocrity. Why compromise leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. It's because you were never meant to settle. You were designed to respond. God has been trying to get your attention. And now, you're listening. This moment is more than a confirmation. It's a divine convergence, where your past, your pain, and your promise finally collide in one crystal clear revelation. You are chosen. Every season has led to this moment. The heartbreak, the pruning, the delays, even the isolation. God has been slowly, silently bringing you into a deeper awareness. And now, He brings the word to meet you at the exact place of your spiritual readiness. You're not late. You're not behind. You are precisely where you need to be. But don't make the mistake of just receiving this passively. Heaven is not only confirming your path, it's activating it. This is your moment to lock in, to align, to fully accept what you've been hesitant to believe. This is for you. Notvage. Not generally, directly, specifically. God knew your name when this word was written. And now it finds you because it's time to step out of questioning and into confirmation. Out of wandering and into direction. Out of fear and into motion. Heaven won't let you ignore this intersection, because too much has been invested. Too much is on the line. This is not coincidence. This is divine evidence. And if you pay attention to the patterns, you'll realize God has been speaking all along. You just needed the right frequency to hear it. Now you've found it, and the veil is lifting. Don't fall back into doubt. Don't brush this off as just another word. Don't let your logic talk your spirit out of the revelation. Because the supernatural rarely announces itself with fireworks. It often shows up in whispers, in stillness, in the deep resonance that only the soul can interpret. Chosen one, your steps are ordered, even your detours, even your delays, even your mistakes. What was meant to distract you has only redirected you back to divine alignment. You can't mess up what God has written when your heart stays surrendered. This is your marker. The moment when you stopped scrolling and started awakening. When heaven's echo collided with your earthly confusion and brought clarity. This is the moment you'll remember when the doors begin to open. When the favor starts to fall. When the movement begins. And you'll look back and say, God warned me. God found me. God spoke to me right here. This is not just a message. It's a mirror. It reflects who you really are. And it calls you up higher. This isn't about emotions. It's about recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind is just beginning to accept. You're not crazy. You're called. And when heaven confirms a thing, it's not to tease, it's to launch. Don't ignore the confirmation. Don't delay the obedience. Don't underestimate the urgency, because the clock has moved, and the time is now. Type in the comments, I receive. This seals your awareness and responds in faith. You forgot the crown, but heaven didn't. Chosen one. The weight you've been carrying isn't just from warfare, it's from misplaced identity. Somewhere along the journey, in the chaos, the trials, the betrayals, you laid down your crown. You stopped walking in the fullness of who you are. You stopped declaring what heaven has already decreed over you. Royalty. But let this word remind you, you were crowned long before you were wounded. Before the rejection, before the silence, before the losses, you were anointed. You didn't earn the crown. You inherited it. It was placed on you, not by man, but by the King of Glory himself. And now, he's calling you back to that original place. the place where you walk with authority, not insecurity, with boldness, not apology, with dominion, not doubt. You may have forgotten, but God did not. He's seen you navigating life like a servant when you were called to rule. You've been pleading for crumbs when you were assigned to tables of overflow. You've allowed the opinions of broken people to lower your vision, to tame your voice, to distract your fire. But the crown is still yours. Heaven never revoked it. And now, the call is clear. Reclaim it. Pick up your authority. Pick up your posture. Pick up your prophetic voice. Because your position in the Spirit isn't earned by performance, it's anchored in identity. You are not becoming a chosen one. You already are one. And everything you need to walk in that identity is already inside of you. This is not about ego, it's about obedience. Because when you forget your crown, you shrink your impact. You settle for less. You entertain counterfeit connections. You stay in spaces that can't sustain you. But when you wear the crown, you walk differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. You carry the atmosphere of the kingdom everywhere you go. And let's be clear, wearing your crown won't make everyone comfortable. Some will be irritated by your glow. Some will resent the light you carry. Some will call it pride. But do not dim your royalty to ease their insecurity. You weren't crowned to fit in, you were crowned to stand out. The world needs your authority. Your family needs it. Your region needs it. The people attached to your voice are waiting for you to remember who you are. Because your crown doesn't just mark your identity, it releases theirs. When you rise, others remember what royalty looks like. Your obedience sets off a chain reaction, but you must accept it again. You must look in the mirror of your spirit and say, I am not a victim. I am not an orphan. I am not forgotten. I am a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, a vessel of glory. You must reject every lie that told you otherwise. The pain didn't disqualify you, it prepared you. The delay didn't cancel the crown, it validated it. Only those with real authority endure what you've endured. Only those marked by heaven wrestle at the level you have. Your scars are proof you're worthy to wear it. There is power in your presence, not because of your background, not because of your accomplishments, but because of what you carry. The moment you walk into a space with your crown on, the spiritual atmosphere shifts. The demonic realm recognizes rank. And when you embrace who you are in Christ, hell has no choice but to back down. You don't have to announce your authority, it radiates from your being. This is why the enemy fought your identity so fiercely. Because once you know who you are, you become unstoppable. Once you reclaim your authority, you become unshakable. The resistance wasn't proof of your failure, it was confirmation of your position. Even now, heaven is reminding you of visions you had years ago, prophetic dreams, divine nudges, strange moments of confirmation that others laughed off, but you never forgot. Those weren't coincidences. They were glimpses of the crown, previews of the throne, hints of the weight you would one day carry. That day is now. You're not waiting on another level. The level is waiting on you. So take your place. Chosen one. Not with arrogance, but with bold humility. Your crown fits. Your time is now. And when you wear it again, everything changes. Your discernment sharpens. Your speech shifts. Your walk carries weight. You don't beg for open doors. You speak to them. You don't react to resistance. You rise through it. You don't chase favor. You attract it. Because when royalty steps into alignment, Heaven responds, "Don't wait for another sign. This is it. The crown is at your feet, and heaven is waiting for you to pick it back up, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now, because the world needs you crowned, not crushed, anointed, not apologizing, positioned, not passive. This is your coronation in the Spirit. Receive it. Walk in it. Own it. Not for status, but for assignment, not for applause, but for impact, not for fame, but for kingdom. And as you do, subscribe. Stay connected to every word heaven sends to keep your crown secure. This space is more than content. It's an altar for the chosen ones. Like this message to honor the voice of God in your life. Share it with someone else who's forgotten their crown. Be the reason they remember. Be the reason they rise. Heaven didn't forget your crown. Don't leave it on the ground. No more hiding. You've spent too long shrinking, too long pretending you're smaller than you are, too long dimming the fire inside you so others wouldn't feel convicted by your light. But the season for concealment is over. The one who once whispered is about to roar. The one who once sat silent in the back is now being called to the front. Chosen one. Your voice is needed now more than ever. You've hidden behind excuses, behind fear, behind the pain of past rejection. But deep down, you've known there's something in you that won't let you stay hidden. A sound, a power, a frequency that doesn't match the world around you. You've felt it every time you tried to blend in. You've felt it stir every time you heard someone speak and thought, "That should have been me." It wasn't arrogance. It was awareness. You've been aware, even if you couldn't explain it. Aware that there's more. Aware that heaven placed something sacred in your chest. Aware that the dreams that won't die are actually divine assignments that can't be ignored any longer. And now, God is pulling back the curtain. This is not about stepping onto a stage. This is about stepping into your assignment. Because hiding has a cost, and you've paid it. You've watched others take up space you were born to fill. You've listened to watered-down voices echo what your soul was shouting. You've held back in conversations, in opportunities, in divine moments, all to keep others comfortable. But you were never meant to be common. You were meant to disturb the atmosphere with your presence. When you walk into a room, everything shifts. Not because you're trying, but because of who walks with you. And when you speak, it's not just opinion, it's revelation. It's breakthrough. It's the echo of heaven moving through a yielded vessel. You don't need permission anymore. You already have heaven's. The hiding helped you in the past. It gave you time to heal, to grow, to learn. But now, it would only limit you because the oil has increased, the fire has intensified, and the world around you is hungering for exactly what you've been hiding. It's time to speak, to testify, to create, to move in purpose, to write the words you've buried, to launch what's been on your heart for years, to say yes, even if your voice shakes. You don't need full confidence, you need full surrender. Because heaven moves through the obedient, not just the bold. You are not called to be silent in a generation of confusion. Your clarity is needed. Your purity is needed. Your power is needed. This is not about spotlight. It's about stewardship. You are stewarding a gift, an anointing, a sound that was assigned to shift atmospheres and call dry bones back to life. And it can't stay buried anymore. God is breathing fresh wind on what you almost gave up. That blog, that book, that message, that movement, that business, that ministry, that burden for souls. It's not random, it's not extra, it's essential. Because there are people whose breakthrough is tied to your voice being released. They won't move until you do. And the longer you hide, the longer they remain stuck. That's the weight of your calling. That's the impact of your obedience. It's bigger than you. And heaven won't let you hide, because heaven has already released your name into the earth. Chosen one, you've been unveiled. You can't go back to blending in. You can't pretend you don't hear the call. The trumpet has sounded in your spirit, and now the only direction is forward, out of fear, out of false humility, out of the shadows. No more waiting until you feel ready. You're not called because you feel ready. You're called because you're appointed, and what you speak will shake chains off others, not because you shout, but because you carry substance, depth, fire forged in private. No more hiding. Not your gift, not your voice, not your vision. You've seen what happens when you remain silent. You've felt the heaviness of disobedience, and you've lived beneath the weight of a calling too big to contain. It's time to let it out, to let God use your mouth, your hands, your presence, to let the world see what heaven already knows. You were never meant to hide. Everything is about to shake, but you will stand. The shaking has already begun. In governments, in economies, in churches, in families. What was once stable is now uncertain. What was once unshakable is being tested. The foundations of the earth are trembling under the weight of divine correction and coming glory. And chosen one, you must not fear this shaking, you must understand it. This is prophetic. It is heaven's disruption, a divine dismantling of everything built on sand, false systems, corrupt power, empty religion, dead traditions. All of it must fall to make room for what's coming. God is not interested in patching up broken cisterns. He is tearing down so he can rebuild on truth. But in the midst of all this, you will not be moved. Though others crumble, your roots run deep. Though fear grips nations, your peace will be supernatural. While chaos erupts around you, you'll stand still and see the salvation of your God, because you are anchored not in the systems of man, but in the government of heaven. Everything shakeable will be shaken. Friendships that were built on comfort will dissolve. Opportunities born of compromise will collapse. Platforms created through pride will fall. But those who are built on obedience, prayer, and purity will remain. And not only remain, they'll rise. You are part of that remnant. The ones who didn't sell out, the ones who didn't bow down, the ones who stayed hidden while others hustled. And now, in the shaking, heaven is raising you up, not because you're loud, but because you're true. Not because you pushed, but because you yielded. You were built for storms. That's why your foundation was tested so fiercely in the last season. The pressure, the loneliness, the pruning, it was all training. Because when others scatter, you will lead. When others panic, you will pray. When others collapse, you will create. And when the dust settles, your voice will remain. Because God is not just shaking things, He's revealing them. False alignments will break. Ungodly covenants will sever. Idols will fall. And when it happens, many will look for answers. They will hunger for voices that carry clarity, conviction, and authority. And that's why you've been prepared. Chosen one. The shaking is not the end. It is the beginning. It's the clearing of ground for a new era, a divine planting season where heaven will rebuild through surrendered vessels. You're not just surviving this moment, you are being sent into it. As a messenger, a stabilizer, a breaker of fear and a builder of truth. Don't misinterpret the shaking. It's not personal attack, it's prophetic alignment. What God shakes, He intends to shift, and what He shifts, He transforms. Let the shaking come. Let it strip away what was never meant to remain. Let it expose, cleanse, and purify. Because on the other side of this is glory. The glory you've been dreaming of, not emotional hype, not temporary influence. Real weight, real impact, real manifestation of heaven on earth. But it can only come through the hands of those who remain steady when everything else breaks. That's you. You are the temple not made with hands. You are the altar heaven rests upon. You are the voice crying out in a wilderness of noise. And when the shaking intensifies, you won't shrink, you'll shine. You'll become a lighthouse in a stormy sea. Don't pray the shaking away. Pray for discernment within it. Pray to know what must be let go, what must be surrendered, what must be restructured. Because this isn't punishment, it's preparation. And God is trusting you to stand firm while others fall apart. So plant your feet, fix your eyes, set your heart. You've been prepared for this hour. What shakes others will strengthen you. What confuses others will clarify you. What destroys others will develop you. You are not exempt from the storm. You are established in it. Comment 999 below to say, I will not be moved. This is your stand of faith, your public declaration. I was born for this shaking. The separation season has begun. Chosen one. It is not personal. It is prophetic. The distance you feel, the relationships fading, the sudden disconnection from those you once thought were permanent fixtures in your life. It's not your imagination. It's not offense. It's God. He is separating you for what's next. There is no promotion without pruning, no elevation without separation. Before God sends you into new territory, He cuts ties with what cannot survive the new altitude. Some connections are not evil, they're simply expired. And if you try to carry the old into the next, you risk aborting what God is birthing in you. This is the season of divine severing. The conversations feel different. The flow feels off. The alignment that once worked is now dry. That's not failure, it's a sign. God is whispering, this is no longer part of your journey. And as painful as it may feel, it's protection. It's His mercy removing weights that would crush your calling. Everyone can't go with you. Some were only assigned to the wilderness. Some were seasonal scaffolding, not the structure. You've mistaken loyalty for legacy, but God is showing you the difference. Legacy aligns with purpose. Loyalty often aligns with comfort. And when you're called to carry glory, comfort must bow. This is not rejection, it's redirection. Even Jesus separated from the crowd to go to the mountain. Even Abraham had to leave Lot to step into the fullness of his promise. Even Gideon had to reduce his army before the battle. Why? Because too many voices drown out divine clarity. Too many opinions create spiritual noise. Too many familiar spirits sabotage unfamiliar faith. Let God remove what cannot follow. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to feel guilty about it. God is not asking for your permission. He's performing divine surgery. And some ties must be cut so that your roots can grow deeper. You'll look back and thank Him for every friendship that faded, every door that closed, every conversation that ended in silence. Because in hindsight, you'll see how heavy those connections really were, how much they distracted you, drained you, or dulled your discernment. You didn't even know how much you were carrying until God took it. He is streamlining your spirit for movement, trimming what's excessive, breaking what's codependent, distilling your life down to purity, focus, obedience. Because where you're going requires less noise and more fire, less company and more consecration, less emotion and more alignment. Chosen one, don't mourn what God is cutting. You're not losing, you're being launched. And those who are assigned to your next will recognize the new version of you. They won't compete with your calling. They won't shrink when your light shines. They won't ask you to dim your anointing. They'll celebrate it. They'll guard it. They'll run with it. God is sending people of purpose, kingdom-aligned, glory-carrying, remnant-minded voices, people who don't need constant explanation because they carry the same fire. You won't need to beg for support or force connection. Divine alignment flows without resistance. Let the pruning continue. Let the separation sharpen you. Let the silence cleanse you. Let the space between what was and what will be prepare you, because when this season ends, you'll step into your next lighter, clearer, and more focused than you've ever been. You're not being isolated. You're being elevated. And the fewer voices you carry, the clearer you'll hear the one voice that matters. Your instructions are coming. Chosen one. The confusion you've walked through has not been due to lack of calling, it's been a lack of clarity. You've known you were meant for more. You've felt the pressure of a destiny you couldn't yet define. You've walked in circles, asking, God, what do I do next? And now, the shift begins. The fog is lifting. The next phase is being revealed. Heaven is releasing your marching orders. This is not a generic call to be used. This is specific, personal, strategic. You are about to receive instructions tailored to your assignment. They may not come in thunder. They may not come with lightning, but they will come with precision, with timing, with the fire of divine confirmation. God is not the author of confusion. He is the initiator of clarity. And what's been locked in mystery is about to be unveiled in moments of stillness, in unexpected encounters, in scriptures that come alive, in dreams that won't let you go. Watch for the signs. Listen for the whispers. He is speaking now, not just in revelation, but in direction. You are not being called just to believe. You are being called to move. This next season requires motion, not emotional excitement. Notvaga intention. Real, bold, obedient action. Heaven is not interested in spectators. It is activating sent ones. And you are being sent to a place, to a people, to a purpose. But movement without instruction is chaos. That's why God waited. He waited until your ears were trained, until your discernment was sharpened, until your heart was emptied of your own plans. Now, your spirit is ready to receive blueprints that can only be downloaded in the secret place. He will not shout over your distractions. That's why he's been reducing the noise, pulling you away from what's loud, making space for what's holy. You may have felt lonely, but it was in that silence he was preparing to speak. He couldn't give you the map until you were ready to leave the familiar roads behind. Get ready to move in precision. Not busyness, not people-pleasing. Precision. Every step will matter. Every yes will open new realms. Every no will protect your peace. And when you follow these instructions, you will see results that have no earthly explanation. You're not being asked to guess. You're being asked to listen. And in that listening, faith will rise. Clarity will settle. Confidence will replace confusion. And you'll begin to move in ways that make no sense to man, but total sense to God. This is the walk of the chosen. It's not always comfortable. It won't always make sense. But it will always be covered. Always purposeful. Always fruitful. Because when heaven guides, earth responds. But take this seriously. Disobedience in this season is dangerous. Not because God stops loving you, but because this is a moment of acceleration, and delayed obedience becomes disobedience. What you ignore now could cost you years later. What you procrastinate on today may delay someone else's breakthrough, so sharpen your ears. Still your heart. Be prepared to receive strange instructions. Build when others are resting. Rest when others are hustling. Speak when you'd rather stay silent. Stay silent when your flesh wants to defend. Your steps will not look like theirs because your path is consecrated. The assignments will begin to unfold like scrolls, bit by bit, step by step, and with every act of obedience, another piece of the picture will emerge. That book, that ministry, that move, that idea, it's not random, it's downloaded, it's kingdom. And you don't need confirmation from people who weren't in the secret place with you. They won't always understand it. That's okay. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And when God speaks, that word is enough. You don't need permission when you've been given instruction. There is movement in the spirit realm right now. Angels are being dispatched. Resources are being aligned. People are being stirred. Why? Because your obedience is setting things in motion. You don't see it all yet, but heaven does. And every yes you give sends ripple effects through eternity. Chosen one, get ready to move with power. You've sat long enough. You've asked enough. You've questioned enough. Now comes the time for motion. God is not done with you. He is just beginning to reveal what He always intended. And what's coming will make sense of everything you've endured. No more delay. No more waiting for perfection. It's time to walk in divine instruction. The scroll is being handed to you. Receive it. Guard it. Execute it. The scroll is being unsealed. Chosen one. What was once hidden is now being revealed. What you've long sensed in your spirit but couldn't yet articulate is being made plain. God is unsealing scrolls that have your name written in heaven's ink. These are not random ideas. These are ancient instructions, sealed for such a time as this. And now, heaven is opening them. This is the hour of divine revelation. Mysteries that have confounded you are beginning to break open. Prophetic insight is sharpening. The veil is lifting, and what was once vague is becoming vivid. You're seeing things differently, feeling things deeper, sensing a weight behind moments that used to feel empty. That's because the scroll of your assignment is being unveiled. Heaven is entrusting you with secrets, not secrets for entertainment, but for impact, blueprints for action, insight for movement, strategy for battle. You're not just being given revelation, you're being given responsibility. Because to whom much is revealed, much is required. And the weight of what you're receiving is sacred. It may not make sense to everyone. It may sound strange to those without discernment. But what you're hearing in your spirit is real. The nudges, the recurring phrases, The dreams that feel more like visitations than visions, they're not imagination, they're instruction. You've been chosen to carry insight others overlooked. While many chase popularity, you've been drawn to purity. While others mimic the noise, you've craved the real. That's why God can trust you. He's revealing things to you, not just so you can know them, but so you can declare, build, and act on them. You're being handed the scroll, so others can be freed by your obedience. The scroll isn't just for you. It's for nations, for generations, for souls you've never met, but who are connected to your yes. When you walk in the revelation of heaven, you become a living epistle proof that the word is still alive, still moving, still calling. But know this: unsealed scrolls carry responsibility. You can't unsee what you now see. You can't unknow what's been revealed. You're accountable now. Heaven is not playing games, it is releasing strategies for this hour. Because we are in a moment of divine urgency, and only the chosen can carry this kind of fire without turning it into performance. Don't sit on what God is revealing. Write it, pray it, declare it, move on it. You don't need every detail. Scrolls don't unfold all at once. They open as you walk. As you obey, each step unlocks the next line. Each prayer reveals the next layer. And every time you say yes, the scroll extends. This is the part of your calling that few understand. You're not just gifted, you're trusted. Trusted to hear what others ignore. Trusted to carry what others mock. Trusted to stay pure when others compromise. That's why the weight feels different. That's why you can't shake this feeling. That's why the shaking hasn't broken you. It's clarified you. You are the scroll bearer. You carry a message embedded in your very existence. And now, God is amplifying it. Your voice is being tuned. Your vision sharpened. Your movement accelerated. You are not the same version of yourself that started this journey, and you never will be again. Heaven is commissioning you again. Not with fanfare, with fire. Not with applause, with authority. You don't need another sign. You are the sign. A walking scroll. A divine interruption in the lives of those around you. This is your moment to step into revelation, to carry it well, to protect it fiercely, to deliver it faithfully. The scroll has been unsealed. Now, run with it. Speak it in the comments. I choose my crown. This is your prophetic stand, your declaration that you accept both the revelation and the responsibility. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, like, and share this message. It's not just content, it's confirmation. And someone else needs this word today. You are not defenseless. Chosen one. The warfare you've endured wasn't a punishment, it was proof of purpose. And now, heaven is shifting your position from one who's constantly under attack to one who commands the battlefield. You've been on defense long enough. Now, it's time to go on offense. It's time to war in the spirit. The battles ahead will not be won with logic or strategy, they will be won with authority. You must rise now. Not just as a believer, but as a warrior, not a reactive fighter, flailing in panic, but a deliberate, equipped, unshakable presence in the spirit realm. You don't fight for victory, you fight from it. Victory is your birthright, and heaven expects you to walk in it. This is why the trials came so fierce. The resistance was never about your past. It was about the threat your future posed to darkness. You carry spiritual weight. That's why you've been waking up feeling warfare before the day even begins. Why confusion and oppression suddenly descend when you're on the brink of breakthrough. Why emotional exhaustion comes without warning. Because you are marked. And the enemy knows that when you rise fully, chains break everywhere you go. But now, the tables are turning. God is reminding you of your arsenal. The weapons of your warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God. You don't need man-made tools. You don't need cleverness. You need the sword of the Spirit, the shield of faith, the belt of truth, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, and a heart that knows who commands angel armies. You've been trying to fight spiritual battles with earthly responses. That ends now. Your authority comes when you war in the Spirit, when you pray in tongues, when you worship despite heaviness, when you speak what heaven says instead of what fear whispers, when you fast, not out of ritual, but out of revelation. Chosen one, you are not powerless. The enemy hopes you'll stay passive, that you'll wait for another prophecy, another sign, another confirmation. But you've been armed, authorized, activated. Now is the time to draw your sword. Take back what was stolen. Take back your voice. Take back your clarity. Take back your peace. Take back your fire. The devil didn't want you to know how powerful you are, that your very presence sends tremors through demonic territory, that your words can shut down atmospheres, that your worship makes hell tremble. But now you know, and once you know, you can't go back to pretending. You are a weapon in the hands of the Almighty. When you pray, dimensions shift. When you worship, chains fall. When you speak, fire follows. You are a gatekeeper, a line breaker, a warrior in the army of the King. Do not underestimate the battles ahead, but do not fear them either. You were trained for this. You didn't just survive the fire, you became it. Every sleepless night, every tear cried on the altar, every lonely fast. Every time you walked away from compromise when no one was watching it, all built this warrior. And now, heaven says, advance. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more hoping the storm will pass. You are the storm. You were born to wreak havoc in the camp of the enemy, to expose what's been hidden, to dismantle what's been tolerated, to uproot what's been long ignored. This is not hype. This is your divine assignment. You will not lose your mind. You will not burn out. You will not fall short. Because the one who called you is covering you. He doesn't send you to battle empty-handed. He fills your hands with power and your mouth with prophecy. So walk like you've already won. Stand like the giant has already fallen. Pray like it's already shifting. Praise like the breakthrough is already breaking through. Because in the Spirit, it is, you are a warrior. You are armed. And now, you are unleashed. The final door is open. Chosen one. This is it. The moment every storm, every delay, every battle, every lonely prayer has been pointing toward. This is not just another season, it is the season. The culmination of preparation, the moment of manifestation, the appointed time. The threshold is real, and you are standing before it. No more waiting, no more wandering, no more circling. The time has come to step through. For too long you've been living in between, one foot in faith, one foot in fear, one hand on destiny, one hand on what's familiar. You've prayed, fasted, obeyed, but you've hesitated, wondered, questioned. But now the door is wide, and heaven is saying, step through without knowing the full path. Step through, even if your knees are trembling. Step through, even if it costs you your comfort. Because what's on the other side of this door is everything you were born for. Purpose, clarity, breakthrough, power, vision, authority, influence, fire, favor, purity, alignment, movement, all of it tied to this door. And you don't need to understand all of it. You need to obey. You need to say yes with your heart, your words, your life. You're not being asked to be ready. You're being asked to be willing. God will do the rest. He will meet you in the movement. He will supply you in the sacrifice. He will cover you in the crossing. But the first step, that's yours. The door will not stay open forever. It is open now, divinely timed, spiritually prepared. You are ready, even if you don't feel like it. Because readiness in the kingdom isn't about knowledge, it's about surrender. Don't miss this. Don't be like the ones who waited too long, who reasoned themselves into delay, who watched others step into their inheritance and wondered what happened. You are not called to spectate. You are called to activate. The fire in you is real. The sound in you is needed. The assignment on you is unmatched. You've come too far to stall here. You've cried too long. You've broken too deep. You've healed too faithfully. This is not the time to shrink. It is the time to rise. You have been divinely drafted into heaven's front line. Your name is known in heaven. Your presence is felt in hell. And as you step through, you will feel it. The shift, the weight, the clarity. Things will fall off of you: fear, confusion, self-doubt, insecurity. Your vision will sharpen. Your urgency will rise. Your authority will increase. Because you'll no longer be standing outside your promise, you'll be walking in it. Everything is about to change. Not just externally, internally. The way you see yourself, the way you carry yourself, the way you pray, the way you speak. Because you'll know you obeyed. You trusted. You walked through when the door opened, and with every step, the heavens will respond. Doors in the natural will open that were once sealed. Relationships will align that once confused you. Ideas you held for years will suddenly find favor. Provision will meet vision. Acceleration will meet obedience. And most of all, peace will guard you. Because you're not forcing anything, you're following. You're not hustling, you're flowing. You're not guessing, you're listening. And the one who opened the door will sustain you once you walk through it. This is the crossing point. And not everyone will come with you. That's okay. Not everyone will understand your fire. That's okay. You were not chosen to be understood. You were chosen to obey. And obedience has always been the key that unlocks movement. Let this word settle in you. It's time. No more delay. No more excuse. No more needing a sign. This is your sign. This is your moment. This is the final door. Step through and become who you've always been beneath the fear. Become who you saw in your dreams. Become the voice you heard in worship. Become the answer to someone else's prayer. Become the warrior, the prophet, the vessel, the builder, the breaker. Heaven has been waiting for this moment. Now the question is, will you? And so, it begins. You have heard the call. You have felt the fire. You have seen the threshold. And now, chosen one, you have crossed into the realm of the revealed. There is no turning back, no returning to normal, because normal was never your portion. You were born to disrupt, to carry presence, to speak light into darkness. And now, heaven moves with you. Earth responds to you. Time bends for you, because alignment has finally met obedience. You are not who you were. You are crowned, called, commissioned. The road ahead will not always be easy, but it will always be anointed. You will carry weight in silence. You will move mountains with whispers. You will lift others even when you feel weak yourself. But always remember, your strength is not yours. It's His. Stay yielded. Stay sharp. Stay burning. Return to this word when the fire feels faint. Let it remind you of who you are. Let it reignite what life tried to silence. Keep walking, one faithful step at a time. If this message has confirmed what your spirit already knew, take a moment now, like this message, as your response to heaven. Share it with someone else walking through the same fire. Let them hear what you just heard. And in the comments, mark your agreement. Write 111, 777, or 999, whatever number bears witness in your spirit. Let it be a sign of your yes to this moment. Make sure you're subscribed to this space. More words are coming. More fire. More clarity. More divine instruction for the chosen. And you will not want to miss a single one. The final door has opened, and you walked through it. Welcome to your becoming.